Bayern Munich versus Chelsea and PSG versus Chelsea. I've seen a lot of opinion. I've seen people say a lot of things that they want to say. So, but here is a context that I want to bring into the conversation between these two games. Why Chelsea dominated, not just beat, but dominated PSG, but then got dominated and beaten by Bayern Munich. The same Bayern Munich that was eliminated from that competition, right? From the World Club Cup competition that Chelsea won against PSG. So, of course, in that competition, PSG was considered the best team in that competition until they got beaten by Chelsea, right? And in the way they got beaten. It's not just that they got beaten, but the way, because Chelsea beats PSG soundly. It's not like 1-0 or 2-1. No, it was a sound beating, right? People are beginning to wonder, like, what's going on? Why would Chelsea beat PSG the way they beat PSG? And of course, since then they have been informed, right? And then they got dominated and beaten by Bayern Munich last night, right? So there is a context to it. You have to understand this. The World Club Cup was played in America. It was a neutral ground all through, right? It was a neutral ground all through. Now, the game last night, the Champions League, first of all, Chelsea has a team that is inexperienced in the Champions League. That is number one. They have been inexperienced in the Champions League. They have not really played. They have not played Champions. I think the commentator said it last night, right? That the cumulative number of matches, right, that the players of Chelsea have played in the Champions League were 60-something matches. That is each player. If you sum up all the matches they have played in the Champions League in the Chelsea team, 60-something players. I think it was 63 matches played. In Bayern Munich, the players' cumulative number of matches they played was 500 and something matches. You cannot compare the atmosphere between playing PSG in America and playing Bayern Munich at home, at the home of Bayern Munich, right, with far greater fans attendance ratio. You cannot compare the two. Of course, the pressure is going to come down on the Chelsea players because they are away with very few fans that were supporting them in the stadium. So here are three factors, right? The experience or lack of it, right? Bayern Munich players were more experienced in playing the Champions League football. Chelsea players were not. It was a home ground for Bayern Munich players. There is no way you expect them to lose against Chelsea, right? Of course, things do happen, but you know what I'm talking about. Third of all, the question of Chelsea beating PSG the way they beat PSG in the World Cup final. It was a neutral ground. Nobody had a superior fan base in that game. Whereas the game last night, obviously, like like you don't even compare the fan base between Chelsea and Bayern Munich, right? So of course Chelsea had a few thousand, about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 fans in the stadium that traveled to come and support them, right? And of course the fans of Bayern Munich were in the tens of thousands in the stadium. So there goes my analysis and my explanation and my opinion, right? You have to bring in this context. You cannot just say that Chelsea was not a good team, right? There are a lot of things that will accumulate to bring about the result we saw last night. So it is what it is. But I believe that as Chelsea continue to progress in this Champions League competition, as they continue to progress and gain experiences, of course, definitely I believe that Chelsea is going to qualify in the group stage, right? So as they continue to progress, if you bring about this fixture again between Chelsea and Bayern Munich and maybe play it in at home at Old Trafford, the result is not going to be the same. The dynamics of the game is not going to be the same of what you saw last night, right? I believe that Chelsea's performance is going to improve a lot, right? So that is my assessment.